Hey everyone, I'm the manly Stanley Stanpai, and this is my Nintendo E3 2017 recap and impressions video. So when it comes to E3, Nintendo has really been doing things their own way for the last several years, and this year is no exception. While most opt for a fancy, full-scale press conference, Nintendo likes to keep it simple. Everything is done with a live stream through their Spotlight event, followed by week-long content in the form of the Nintendo Treehouse. Now, what I'm going to talk about in this video is mostly the Spotlight with a subtle nod here and there to what's going on in the Treehouse because, frankly, there are some things that I have to go, huh? About. So, let's get right into it. They open up the press conference with the Nintendo Switch. And this Spotlight gives a nice little montage featuring all the major titles, right? We've got ARMS, we've got Pokken Tournament DX, we've got FIFA, we've even got Rocket League. So, we've got quite a few different games that are all competitive, I think was the core theme there. And they give a good overall view of what kind of experiences and what kind of players can now come to play on Nintendo Switch. So I think that was a real appeal to the more, FGC style player, something a little bit more intense. As soon as that montage ends, we get the man himself, Reggie Fils-Aimé, in an incredibly dramatic and full of powerful vocabulary speech. Reggie tells us it's not about where we take our games, right? It's where our games take us. It's really like, oh, Reggie, I love you. So Reggie always delivers a great speech from here and now, and this year was no exception. So the first thing they go into is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And this is a game that we saw announced last year. Really big title for people who played Xenoblade Chronicles. I'm really feeling it. It's Shulk time. It's not Shulk in this game. Anyway, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is coming. Having that kind of RPG on the go is exactly what it's all about. The next thing they showed off was a total pleasant surprise. Kirby! There's a new Kirby game and it looks adorable. It looks fantastic. It's coming next year in 2018. And again, a note, most of the things in the Spotlight are actually games that are coming out this year. So some of them come out next year. But yeah, that Kirby looks so cute! Kirby. I'm excited to play that game. It's beautiful looking, and it's Kirby. So after that, we get a little message from the Pokemon team. There is a core Pokemon game in development for the Nintendo Switch. That's also far off in the distance, but it exists. So people who are ready to play their next big Pokemon adventure, there it is. So, after that, we get a nice look at some new titles. We've got... what's this? Metroid Prime 4? Nobody saw that coming. Well, then again, there were some subtle leaks and hints, but Metroid Prime 4 is a thing. All we got was a subtle teaser, and that's it. We don't know when, we don't know how, but Metroid Prime 4 is in development. So the next thing we get a look at is... there's a new Yoshi game in development as well. And the core mechanic seems to be about flipping the map and moving in different depths. I think it's something between Little Big Planet and Yoshi's Story. Take whatever path you want to complete the level. This game also looks super adorable. And it's coming out next year as Yoshi title pending 2018. The next game they showed was Fire Emblem. And I don't mean a mainstay Fire Emblem title, though one is in development. I'm talking about Fire Emblem Heroes, which is coming out this fall. This game... the thing about it is it's not a normal Fire Emblem game. It's based more like a Dynasty Warriors style game, similar to Hyrule Warriors. And what we're getting is an original cast with additional characters like Chrom and Corrin and, favorites that haven't all been announced yet. But, the thing about this presentation is that nothing we saw was actually new information. It was all covered in Famitsu a few weeks ago. So, at least we got some, hey, by the way, Fire Emblem Heroes is coming out later this year. Would have liked to see more Fire Emblem information, but that's all we get for now. So the next thing they covered was actually Zelda Breath of the Wild DLC. Now at first I was like, oh boy, DLC. But it actually looked really interesting and good. Like, it looked like fun, it looked challenging, and it looked like it brought a lot of content to the game. So for those who couldn't get enough of Breath of the Wild, which in its own right is a fantastic game, there's another piece of the puzzle, right? You get some more. You get some DLC, there's like a season pass that I think you need to buy, but whatever it may be, it looks like it's some valuable and enjoyable content. The game was very difficult when you're naked, and it looks like this challenge mode is going to force you to probably play high danger levels, very, very violent enemies that can kill you in one hit. So Looking forward to that. Have we mentioned that there's Skyrim now on the Nintendo Switch, complete with amiibo functionality, so you can play Zelda while you play Skyrim? Have you bought Skyrim yet? Oh, another thing about the Zelda DLC, they actually had some really cool costumes that they're throwing in, and we've heard of some of them already. We got like a Tingle costume and a Majora's Mask and stuff like that, so that's cool too. This additional stuff for the gameplay experience. So after Zelda, we go back to Mario, with Mario and Rabbids. Now this is a game that was actually revealed in the Ubisoft conference, but it's also showcased in the Nintendo Spotlight. It's basically XCOM Mario. It's got Rabbids dressed up as Mario characters alongside the Mario characters doing XCOM-style gameplay. Honestly, I'm like, it's Rabbids. They're like the minions of video games, but even with that said, XCOM is a really good franchise, and that kind of gameplay is fun. So, you never know, maybe it was a good collaboration and something to look forward to. Following that, we go on to Rocket League, which I mentioned earlier. As one of the competitive games, right? I think I may have left it out in the opening. But Rocket League was also showcased, and we're getting exclusive, right, Nintendo-themed hats and such that you can use on your car. No surprise there. But also, what's cool is cross-platform play, I believe, was mentioned. So you'll be playing with other players, as Rocket League always tries to do. So Rocket League is coming to Switch. That's a cool announcement. Closing out the Nintendo presentation was none other than Super Mario, right? The mainstay, #1 mascot of Nintendo. And Super Mario Odyssey honestly looks fantastic. They gave a nice little trailer at the end, but like, this game looks great. We got a surprising T-Rex to open it up, and after the T-Rex, the hat popped off and Mario was controlling the T-Rex the whole time. And that seems to be one of the core gameplay mechanics, is using Mario's hat to possess things and control them, as we'll see if you watch the Treehouse Live event. This game looks like a fantastic Mario game. This looks like a serious contender for, hey, you liked Mario 64? Here's that new one. This is it. This is the one that's finally going to surpass it completely. I don't mean to overhype, it just looks really good. So, yeah, Mario Odyssey is how they concluded the show, and that wrapped up the Nintendo presentation. Now, the thing about Nintendo is, I mentioned already, they do the Treehouse Live throughout the week. This seems to be their way of controlling the viewership of E3 so that people focus on them throughout the entire week. And there are some additional ways that they do that that really set them apart. But it also gives me kind of like a frustration because, alright, I mentioned Metroid Prime 4 was announced, but what they also announced only on the Treehouse Live is that they're also making Metroid Metroid Samus Returns. So, we have something right there that's a really big deal. It's a new Metroid game. It's a remaster, essentially, of Metroid 2, right? And nobody mentioned it until the Treehouse. You've got this really great IP and great game that you could have put in the presentation, but you saved it for the Treehouse content. It's just something you don't expect. And on the next page, another game was Miitopia. It's an RPG where you use your Miis. They mentioned it previously in a Nintendo Direct, but this is coming out this year, and they featured it in the Treehouse, but there was no mention of it in the presentation, and it's coming out this year. And finally, which is just a personal insult to everybody and everyone, everywhere, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga is getting a re-release. It's getting remastered, and they're adding an extra content to it, with Bowser's Minions as a side story. Why did they not announce this? This is awesome! Mario & Luigi is a fantastic franchise. That game, Superstar Saga, is one of my favorites from the Game Boy Advance era, and it's getting a re-release with updated graphics and a new side plot. Why was this not in the presentation? Why did you not care to say it? Nintendo likes to show stuff during their Treehouse Live, and that's totally fine. It keeps people watching it throughout the week because new announcements happen like this one. But I just feel like it's kind of a disservice to people who count on the spotlight when it's already such a short thing of 25 minutes. You could have mentioned the new Metroid game, especially because people don't even know what it is. And, I mean, it's interesting to see, the fans of Metroid who are like, oh, what's this game? Oh, Samus Returns. Oh, I've never heard of Metroid 2. Right? It's just, why didn't you say anything? So, in any case, that is my recap and impression of Nintendo. I think they did a pretty good job. Honestly, they brought really good content back to back to back. There was nothing I was disappointed in watching. The only things I complained about are things that they're not obligated to throw in because they just show them throughout the week. But I think they did a fantastic job, and they kept it brief, right? Which is really their focus, direct and to the point. Haha. So, yeah, Nintendo did a great job as always. They really hit it home with some awesome titles to look forward to next year and this year. Right, Kirby and Yoshi, they look great. Metroid Prime, we know nothing about, but it exists. And the games that are coming this year, fantastic. Mario Odyssey, gonna be a big one. Anyway, I'm the manly Stanley Stanpai, and that was my Nintendo E3 2017 recap and impressions video. If you liked this video, please be sure to check out some of my other E3 recap and impressions videos, or just let me know with a like. And also tell me what you thought. Did Nintendo win? Like, how did they do? Let me know if you've been watching the Treehouse Live or not. I'd love to hear your opinions about the company. Anyway, I'm the manly Stanley Stanpai, and this is a part of my E3 2017 recap and impressions series. Be sure to check out the other ones, and of course subscribe if you've not done so already. Thank you so much for watching, and have an awesome E3.